Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. I'm Rick Plaskett, a certified business and leadership coach here in Columbus, Ohio. And today my guest is Andrea Lukuch. She is the owner and creator of not one, but two different locations of the Cats Only Vet Clinics. Today, we're going to talk with her about business challenges, some of her best practices, and share a little peek into what it's really like to build and operate a successful business. If this is your first time on the channel, please be sure to like and subscribe so you get future notifications of interviews just like this one with Andrea. So Andrea, welcome and thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much, Rick. I'm so grateful to be part of this podcast and excited to talk with you about who we are at Cats Only Veterinary Clinic.
Super. So it's for the audience, give us a little overview about you, Andrea, and your background, and a little bit about what Cats Only Veterinary Clinics are.
Sure, thank you. Thanks so much. So Cats Only Veterinary Clinic is the original full-service veterinary clinic dedicated to the care and treatment of cats. We're so lucky that since 1988, we've been providing great service not only to our clients, but to their kitties. For the cat owner who wants something different, they want their cat to be treated as the special creature that it is and not just as a small dog. I think that historically our veterinarians come out of school and they're taught how to care for America's #1 pet. And for decades, that has been the dog. We're starting to see a trend now in cat ownership. That level is rising. We have owners who are living in smaller environments, who are traveling more, who just find the convenience and I guess just a better situation having a cat versus a dog to take care of. So we fit that bill for them. I like to joke around and say that we're looking to revolutionize feline medicine and ultimately dominate the feline world. We opened our second location of Cats Only Veterinary Clinic about 25 minutes from our Upper Arlington location in December 2023. So we're just one step closer to that total feline domination.
Awesome. Awesome. So listen, to set the stage for the viewers, what's your ownership structure? In other words, are you a sole owner or are there outside investors or do you have partners?
Well, great question. Thank you. So the veterinary landscape is changing and we're starting to see more corporate and partnerships happening. I am a solo entrepreneur here. So an interesting thing about me is I'm a solo owner. I am not a veterinary owner, though. I started this journey hoping to become a veterinarian. So when I was a little kid, I worked alongside my parents who were veterinary professionals, and I was like, Dad, Mom, I'm going to Ohio State. I'm gonna be a veterinarian, and I'm gonna take over, and it's gonna be great. Well, I went to Ohio State, and people told me I had a really good time. Unfortunately, when you have a really good time, sometimes your plans change a little bit. So I wasn't able to get into veterinary school for a couple of tries, took some time off, and I thought, I'll work at this cute little cat practice while I'm reassessing what my goals are in the future. I'll be damn, Rick, 20 years passed like that, and next thing I know, the owner of the cat practice is retiring, and she's looking for me to be her successor. I had run her practice she was almost an absentee owner in the last 5 years of her practice, just being of retirement age and looking into new interests. So I was pretty much running her practice very profitably. And the state of Ohio does allow for non-DVM owners to own and purchase a veterinary practice. So it just seemed like a great fit. I got to continue doing what I love, and that changed as I grew. Not so much the medicine of the patients kind of scared me at this point. Like, I know I wasn't suited for that. I was suited to take care of the people who would take care of our patients and our clients. So it just seemed a great fit. So in 2015, I purchased Cats Only Veterinary Clinic. When I bought the practice, it was 2 veterinarians and a support team of 12. Now 10 years later, we opened, like I said, our second location. There are 48 of us. I have 7 doctors with sites on a third location in the next 5 years.
Wow, that's huge growth, and congratulations for that.
Thank
You know,
you.
as you look at your current role, you defined the difference between running the practice and running the medicine of the practice. But in your role of running the practice, how would you break down your time spent in the business working stomping out the forest fires versus your vision of your strategic planning and what the future looks like. And I think I heard you say clinic number 3 coming in.
Yeah, that's what we're working towards. Right now, we're working actually number 2. We really need to focus on the growth of the new little guy. I do see a third, hopefully, like I said, in the next 5 years. But right now, all my sites are setting on making sure number 2 is profitable. And that does take up a lot of time. 10 years ago, over the past 10 years, watching my role change from an employee to more of like a owner operator to trying to elevate myself into being that entrepreneur. So getting out of the day-to-day. And every week is different. You know, one week I think, oh, Andrea, you are kicking it. You're doing great. You're barely in the office. You're delegating. You're trusting and empowering your team to do the great work that they've been put on this planet to do. And then the next week, you know, maybe somebody slipped or the accountability wasn't there. And I feel I got to come in and I got to start putting my worker bee, my operations hat back on and kind of tighten up things. And I think that, so that question's kind of hard because every week is different, but as we're 10 years down this path, I'm doing less of the operation stuff and more of the visionary stuff, which I didn't think I would like, but I truly love. Cultivating a strategic team to help me here at the office and giving them that power to make decisions has been really huge, not only in their growth, but allowing me to look ahead and be able to plan that third location and look at the other things that I'm interested in doing aside from just cats only. 10 years ago, when I was getting this loan and taking this journey, I would get upset and cry thinking like, someday I'm not going to be part of this great team and this great group. Now I've settled into the excitement of what else I can do to help this in a non-operation situation.
Super. So let me ask that question in a different way. Instead of a percentage of time,
Okay.
are you intentional in setting aside for when you're going to put on your strategic hat versus your in the weeds hat? And then, of course, the third hat should be some sort of adult recess fun hat. Are you purposeful about setting that time aside?
I am. I really am. It is a consistent thing every week, but the actual time frame, sometimes I only have allowed myself 15 minutes. Other times it is a full day of getting out of the office and being able to think and to troubleshoot and to just vision what the next steps look like. But it is intentional weekly, whether it's with my strategic team or by myself. We do have these moments of just those blinding flashes of inspiration and obviousness that you can't deal with right now, so you got to put it down and schedule some time to think about it later. That thinking time is important and is scheduled weekly.
Super. So, as you're fast forwarding and looking to the future, you've already shared some of the things that you want in the future, but I'm curious, could you describe your approach to goal setting?
I'm all over the place. Like, I have so many things I want to do. And I think that's true of all business owners. Like, we get stuck in the weeds, but then we have a moment to think about what we want to do in the future. All of a sudden, like, the world is our oyster. We're popping off and thinking about all these different things. So goal setting is hard for me unless I really make myself an agenda, because I'll go off on tangents. Oh, it's ridiculous, some of the things I come up with. But so goal setting for me, I actually am a person who not only needs an agenda, but I need a babysitter sometimes. So if I can get the help of my strategic team or my sister who's a CPA, my regular CPA, or a business coach to kind of help me from straying off the path on answering that one question. What does 5 years look like? What does 10 years look like? What do I want for myself? What do I want for my team? Just because I love bright, shiny things and I'll get distracted really easy. So for me, goal setting usually requires the help of an agenda and maybe someone to rein me in. I think that even as a solo entrepreneur here, I think that your team is so important, and not just the people that you work with in the trenches every day, but that higher level, that strategic group of people. I value the input of my CPA. And I'm so fortunate that I have a CPA who doesn't charge me by the phone call, by the minute. She's somebody who truly is a partner in coming up with ideas to make my business better. I have my sister who is not my CPA, but she's worked in corporate America. So when I talk to her about my little small animal hospital, she's giving me ideas on what other industries are doing on a level of giant growth. And so I can kind of see what, if Cats Only continues to grow the way I want it to, how I can better manage my team and my time. And then lastly, I've got a business coach who is just invaluable with helping to keep me on my agenda and answer questions that pop up, and whether it's employee related or personal even, helping me to manage my time so I'm not stuck in the weeds so much.
So your coach is actually letting you go follow those shiny objects, but then at some point saying, okay, now which of these shiny objects are the first two most important to go after? And after we've accomplished those, then we'll go after the rest of the shiny objects.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's so important when you have someone who has worked with entrepreneurs and other people who have all these things firing all at once, for them being able to help you hone in and focus on the things that are most important, and that it's going to give you the best return, whether that's a time return for you or a financial return. And maybe not everyone, I only can speak to, myself, but maybe not everyone needs that group of people reining them in. But if I didn't have these fine people, I don't know where the hell I would be.
Listen, you are not alone, and you have learned a lesson that so many other business owners are just slow to learn, and that is looking for the resources. I have an advantage. And my audience has heard me say this a number of times. I went to West Point, and I've got a military background. And in the military background, when we do battle operations planning, there is a segment of that of service and support, which is, where is the support coming from? What does the support look like from internal, like you said, inside your clinic, your employees, your friends, and your family? And then what are some of the external resources that we can apply as well? And of course, I take and get rid of the military jargon and put that into civilian, but that's a huge lesson to learn of, hey, where are my resources? Who can I talk to inside? And then who are the resources outside that can help me achieve the goals that I want to achieve? So again, congratulations. I wanted to bring that out because I know that you have been successful there. Now I'm going to put you on the hot seat just a little bit. And that is, when we're thinking of the future, it's important to address building a great team. And you've been the leader and the solopreneur and the owner of Cats Only for a while now. How would you describe your leadership style, and has it changed over the years?
Oh yeah, it's totally changed. Right now, I'm trying to be a servant leader. I am trying so hard to make sure that my team has the resources that they need to get the job done. And those resources are confidence. Those resources are supplies, being allowed to fail and being in a safe space to make mistakes. 10 years ago, the only leadership that I really had to emulate was the previous owner. She was so successful, so I thought that was the only way to lead. Her leading was a little more, I remember a phrase that she had, and it's true, but it's hard. And it was, Andrea, you only owe them a day's pay for day's work. And I thought, wow, that's so transactional. And for her in the 80s and 90s, maybe that helped, maybe count me around, like she was able to cultivate a good team. But I think that because of the landscape and the environment of employer relationships, people wanted something different. It's this, if I want them to think of their job as a career and not just a transactional job, I have to be a different kind of leader. And that was hard to learn, but with my team, my strategic team and stuff like that, seeing what they did for their businesses and how successful they were with their businesses, and that kind of leadership led me to embrace that. And I think that's really who the person I was meant to be. I think that I truly want to support people and help them to achieve their highest potential. Whether that's here at Cats Only, great. If it's not here, then God bless you. Thank you for the time that you gave me. Let's see your wings fly somewhere else. Yeah, I'm still learning because sometimes I fall back on some of the 80s and 90s leadership. But I'm grateful to my team that they let me fail, and they let me have redos, and they let me be vulnerable with them too.
And that's super. And I'm glad that you are seeing the change. I would say it's not hard to change, but the difficult part is you don't know what you don't know. And
Right.
a simple vision of this is, I'm pretty sure I'm a little older than you, but the first car that I learned to drive on had ashtrays, no cup holders, and two keys, one to get in the door and one to start the car. Okay. It's still a car today, but there are
Mhm.
no ashtrays in the car that I drive today. I don't even have to stick a key in anywhere to get into it and drive it. And oh, by the way, it tells me a whole lot more about the car and around my surroundings than I have in the past. So me as a driver has changed immensely from me as the very first time driver. It's the same thing in business today. The environment changes, and yet you're dealing with people's identity, their beliefs, and their values. And I'm sure that over the years, you have seen that those are differing with the different generations. Would you
Yep,
agree?
100%. Yes, yep, yep.
Yeah. So listen, do you have many leaders below you that you're developing on your team?
I am, and that's probably the most exciting thing that I get to see. I have had some people who have said that they've wanted leadership, and we tried to see what that looks like for them, and it hasn't worked out. But this team right now is they're so hungry for making this role theirs. And they're coming to me. They want resources. They want books to read, and they want to do right. And part of me is so excited because I think they're seeing what I've done in the past couple of years, and they're seeing the excitement that I get from it. I had one of my technicians in here. She's my lead technician, and she always jokes around and she's like, "I'm going to die here." And I was like, "I don't want anyone to die here, please." But her phrasing that means she wants to stay here. She wants long term because I'm giving her the power to make decisions, to make her job good for her, and her team loves her. Her team is so happy. She gets them to do things and inspires them to do things that is I would never have thought of. And I just love that. My medical director, she's just instilling all this great knowledge and all these great habits for our new generation of veterinarians. And seeing them really respond to her has been fantastic. And same thing with my practice manager. She won an award last year for best. I'm trying to think of how it was worded. It was like best head of department, and her speech was just so amazing. And I could hear the servant leadership in her voice too. I'm so grateful for this group of people, and I'm so happy to see them want to be better leaders for their team.
Awesome. If we could drill down just a little bit on that, because I think you've hit on some great things that I want to bring out and share with the audience. So, what's been your approach to hiring and retention of team members?
It is it is so hard to hire people. That whole hire slow, fire quickly is important. And I think that sometimes we get stuck in the situation where we just need a warm body. So we're just going to pick anyone off the street. Hey, they look great on paper. Their interview is okay. We can kind of clean them up and work with them. I think that every time we do that, we end up shooting ourselves in the foot. Taking the time to hire these people and finding out what really makes them tick and what they're looking for. Are they looking for a job? Are they looking for a career? If they're looking for a career, what can we do to matriculate them through their 90 days and then their eventual goals of potential leadership or whatever their next phase is in life? Retention. I think that retention has been something. At my old job, all you owe them is a day's pay for a day's work. There was no development. People want development now. They want to see the moving of the needle in their career goals, whether it's at a veterinary hospital or in corporate America. People want to see that they're doing something of worth and that they're not in the same spot they were a year ago. So finding out what they value and how can I use those values to help them develop their goals. When it doesn't work out and we try to work with them and try to figure out what's not clicking, what's not happening, coming up with a lot of plans, it's a two-way street. Mentorship and planning is really a two-way street. I can't want it more than they want it. And maybe this isn't a good fit because we're looking to develop people and not just punch a clock. So I think that the team that we have now, we all have the same vision and they know we want to grow cats only and take the best care of our patient. But, oh God, when you get a stack of resumes from Indeed or whoever you're using, you just get so excited because there's all these fresh people that are going to join your team and it's going to be a great big celebration. And it's not like that. You have to take the time and you have to do your research and you have to make the corrections early so you can hopefully keep them in the fold. And if not, then cut them loose to something else that they were meant to do.
If I may share with you, when I started out coaching, I was living in Atlanta, and Chick-fil-A headquarters is in Atlanta. Chick-fil-A headquarters would give out free tours of their headquarters. And so once or twice a year, I would bring all of my coaching clients and we would do the tour. Of course, Chick-fil-A wanted to tell us about their values and their beliefs and their chicken sandwich. But they also shared with us some of their secret sauce to being a good business. And one of my clients once asked, how do you hire such great people? And we learned very quickly that Chick-fil-A breaks everything down that you just said and categorizes it into three groups. The first is we hire on character. If they don't have a similar character to me, my values, and what the environment is for cats only, then there's going to be that friction that you mentioned. And they'll spend a lot of time interviewing and doing personality tests and profiles and whatnot, even before they finish the interviewing process. And then the next thing they do is they hire on chemistry. If you and I have the same value, but we just kind of rub each other wrong, it's going to make for a long, long day. So they look at and they purposefully interview to see, hey, is this chemistry right? And one of the guys even shared from Chick-fil-A saying, I want to be excited every time I see Andrea's caller ID on my phone. If it's one of these where I'm looking at that going, do I want to answer that or maybe later? It's not good chemistry. You get what I'm saying, okay?
I
And
know exactly what you're saying.
and those two are so hard because most everybody can either perform their capabilities, and that's number three. They can or they can be taught that. So most of the challenges that business owners have as leaders of a team and as managers of people come from those first two, character and chemistry. And if we can hire for those even before they come in and have an acceptance letter, then your journey is a little more pleasant. So everything that you said, I believe that you are doing the right things, but to simplify it, it's character, chemistry, and capability.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I always say, I can teach you the job, but I can't teach you your emotional intelligence. I can't teach you how to respond to a scared client on the phone or have an empathy to deal with some hard issues that have happened in an appointment. But I can teach you how to answer the phone. I can teach you how to run the computer. But yeah, if you can come here with that natural ability, I never thought of it as character. I like that. And then the compatibility. Yeah, that's great. Thank you for that.
All right. Now you can tell your coach that you got coached by somebody else has value too.
I will. I definitely will.
Awesome. Awesome. Hey, listen, we have certainly covered a lot of ground in our conversation today. And for those of you that are watching, I highly, highly encourage you to save this interview with Andrea. Come back a few times because she's really given us some great nuggets on her journey to success, her journey to growth, and her future vision of taking 2 practices to 3 practices. As we wrap up today, I'd like to hit a quick section I like to call rapid fire questions. All I'm looking for, Andrea, is what's top of your mind. There's only about 4 or 5 of these questions. You ready?
Yep,
Super.
let's do it.
Andrea, what's your key to success?
My key to success is the team around me, knowing that they are doing the best work that they can with the tools that I've given them as my key. It's them. It's all them.
Awesome. What's your one piece of advice that you would give to other business owners?
Invest in your team. Serious. And I keep saying team, that's coming out of my mouth so much, but you have to invest in them. If you want to keep them happy, you want to keep them productive, talk about their professional development, talk about their personal development. Goals are not something that need to be just singular and in one person's head. Sharing your goals and their goals together, I think that's paramount.
Awesome. Awesome. Andrea, what's a book that you're reading now or you've read most recently?
Most recently, I finished 10x is Easier Than 2x by Hardy and Sullivan. That was a really great read. It literally something just popped in my head. I'm like, well, it makes so much sense. Fantastic read. And I just started All In by Michael Michalowicz. I haven't gotten very far, but that's, again, more leadership stuff, looking just to see how I continue to hone my leadership techniques in the future.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Last question, second to last question. If you had one area of your business that you could improve immediately and tomorrow it would be exactly the way you want it, what would that area of business be?
Oh my God, that's such a great question. Honestly, just with what the growth of my business, the second location, I would love to win the lottery and just see some better cash flow. When I built the second location, I didn't anticipate the economic changes that were coming, with tariffs and people's just uncertainty. So I'm just a little anxious about what that looks like in the next couple of months. People are worried about groceries. They're hesitant to put money into things like their cat. So I'm just hoping that second location really does take off with the continued marketing and growth of my team and services and stuff up there.
Got it. Got it. So, listen, before we get to the final question of the day, if people are watching and they want to get a hold of you, either to have their cat cared for or because you spark their curiosity in running a successful business, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Honestly, the best way is through our website, which is catsonlyvc.com. So VC like veterinary clinic. Day or night, we've got ways to communicate with us there. Asking questions about just kitty stuff. You just want to send me a picture of a cute cat. I will celebrate that all day long.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So here's the final question of the day. Andrea, what's most inspiring to you?
Oh, no, I get emotional when I think about this, but what is most inspiring to me is knowing that my clients and their patients are going to walk out the front door with having a great experience, whether it's bad news or good news. We've given them information for them to make great decisions on their pet. I know my entire team just celebrates every one of these little guys, seeing how hard they work for our critical cases and how much they celebrate the new kitten walking in the door, and being able to do both of those things, to commiserate and celebrate multiple times throughout the day and still show up every day like it's the first day and have that excitement is so inspiring to me. And I'm just so grateful for them.
Andrea, thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for joining us today. And for you, the audience, thank you for watching. If you were inspired by listening to Andrea, please come back and watch it again. Reach out to her. I know her personally over the last few years, and she is more than willing to share her wisdom, and she does have wisdom. Okay, she wants to be humble about it, but she does have some great business wisdom. So, folks, thank you for joining us today. Make it a great day, and bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.